Hello, and welcome to this educational platform of Ghatana Chakra Book video. Our aim is to deliver knowledge to you in a simple, clear, and accessible manner. Let us begin this journey of learning and success.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really big deal for India's banking system, the Banking Laws Amendment Act of 2025. This thing is a major overhaul, and it touches pretty much everything, from how banks are run at the very top, all the way down to how you manage your own accounts. So let's dig in and see what's actually changing. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get the big picture of this update. Then, we'll look at the power shifts happening inside the banks. After that, we'll cover the new rules for your money, see what's still in the pipeline, and then wrap it all up with the most important takeaway. All right, let's jump right in. To really get this, we need to understand the core mission. What is this new law actually trying to do? What's the big idea here?
Now, when you get right down to it, the goal is pretty straightforward: to bring India's banking system into the modern age and make it a whole lot more transparent. Think of it like a massive upgrade to the country's financial plumbing, making sure it can handle the speed and complexity of our economy today.
And listen, we're not talking about a minor tune-up. This is more like a complete engine rebuild. The Act is overhauling a whole bunch of foundational laws. I mean, some of these have been around since the 1930s. It's a really clear signal that the goal here is a deep, fundamental modernization.
So how do you make a system more stable and modern? Well, you've got to start from the inside out. Let's take a look at how this act is changing the rules of the game for who holds the power inside banks and how they get things done.
One of the absolute biggest changes, believe it or not, boils down to this one number: 2 crore rupees. Now, I know that might seem a little random, but this figure is about to completely redefine who's considered a major player in the banking world. And honestly, it's a change that's been a long, long time coming.
To really get the scale of this, you have to look back in time. The old limit for what's called substantial interest was just 5 lakh rupees, a number that was set way back in 1968. So jumping from that to 2 crore is a massive leap forward. It's finally catching the law up with, 50 years of inflation and economic growth.
Okay, so what is this substantial interest thing anyway? Well, it's basically the legal line in the sand for identifying people or companies who have some serious financial influence over a bank's borrowers. By setting a much clearer and frankly more realistic threshold, regulators can keep a better eye on potential conflicts of interest and just make sure lending decisions are fair.
And this whole push for stability doesn't stop there. It also touches on leadership, especially in cooperative banks. The maximum time a director can serve on the board is getting a little extension, going from 8 years up to 10.
And the logic here, it makes a lot of sense. A longer term allows for more stable leadership and lets the board actually see their long-term strategies through. It also helps bring these banking rules more in line with the 97th Constitutional Amendment, which was all about beefing up the professional management of co-ops across the country.
And finally, there's one more key power shift happening here, and it's all about financial oversight. It used to be that the government, or the RBI, decided how much to pay bank auditors. Well, not anymore. Now the public sector banks can figure that out for themselves. The goal is pretty clear: give them more autonomy and let them run their own ship.
Okay, we've talked about the big picture stuff, but what does this all mean for you, for your accounts and your money? Let's get into the updates that are going to affect your personal banking.
This is one of those practical changes you'll probably really appreciate. The new law gives you a whole lot more control over what happens to your assets. It's rolling out much more flexible rules for how you can nominate beneficiaries for your bank accounts and your safe deposit lockers.
So check this out. For both your deposit accounts and your lockers, you can now name up to 4 people as nominees. But, and this is a really important but, there's a key difference. For deposit accounts, you can choose if they inherit one after the other, which is successively, or if they get it all at once, simultaneously. For lockers, though, it's only one after the other, successively only.
Okay, and here's something that is absolutely crucial to understand. This is not like flipping a light switch. The whole act is being rolled out in phases, and some of the biggest changes for us customers, well, they aren't active just yet.
So you have some of the big governance changes, like that new 2 crore substantial interest limit we talked about, which kicked in on August 1st, 2025. But other key parts, especially those new nomination rules, are still kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for the final green light from the government.
So let me just be crystal clear on this. The big takeaway for you right now is this: hold your horses. Even though the law has been passed, you can't actually use those new, more flexible nomination rules for your accounts and lockers just yet. We all have to wait for that final government notification. And another little tweak that's still waiting in the wings is a simple, practical one. The old definition of a fortnight for bank reporting was, well, it was weirdly specific and kind of confusing. The new proposal is just way more intuitive. The first half of the month, from the 1st to the 15th, and the second half, from the 16th to the end. Just a small change that makes a lot more sense.
All right, let's pull all these different threads together. Let's step back and summarize what this all really means for the future of Indian banking. What's the core idea driving this huge update?
So, when you boil it all down, what's this act really about? It's about 4 big things. Modernization, finally getting rid of rules from the 1960s. Transparency, making things clearer and easier to understand for everyone. Stability, to make our banks stronger from the inside out. And finally, flexibility, to give customers like you and me more control and better options.
Ultimately, this act is all about laying a new foundation. It's clearing out the old, outdated structures and putting in a modern framework for governance and for customer control. It really sets the stage for what's next. Which leaves us with the big question, right? With these new foundations now in place, what will the next era of Indian banking actually look like?